Hey, good day, folks. Welcome to another episode of Andrew's Life. Welcome to the town of Rugby, North Dakota, which is located in Pierce County. Rugby is 61 miles away from Minot, 61 miles east of Minot. It is known as the center of North America because of its location. Like if you look at a map of North America, now for those of you that do not know what countries are in North America, some of you might think North America only consists of the United States, but really North America is the United States as well as Canada. So if you look at a globe and you look at the United States and you look at Canada as well, in general, North Dakota is pretty much in the middle, and Rugby is pretty much in the center of North America. It is 15 miles from the center of North America, to be more exact. So anyhow, the population is 2,546 people, and depending on what set of data that you look at in concerns of the population, I looked at one set of data, and it stated that the population has grown by 2.5% as of the 2020 census. And then I look at another set of data, and it stated that the population has declined by 12.8%. And as of the population measures of 2021, the population has increased by 0.3%. So the population has barely done anything in the last year or so. So if you want to live in Rugby, now, of course, when it comes to the climate, for those of you that are new to this channel and this is your first video on this channel, and you have not even watched my Minot video, which I just made just a little bit ago, I went into detail in concerns to the climate of this region of North Dakota. But in a nutshell, if you're looking to move up this way, because maybe you come from a warmer climate with higher humidity, higher temperatures, and all that good stuff. And there's a lot of you that might want to come up this way because maybe you're trying to escape crime. You want to get out of the hustle and bustle of a larger city, and you're looking for a cooler climate. I'm going to just briefly tell you folks, once again, on this video, in concerns to the climate here, it gets very cold here, and I would say for the majority of the year, the climate up here stays colder or cooler, however the hell you want to pronounce it. The climate up here stays cooler for the majority of the year. You get 2 months out of the year where you're guaranteed to have no snow. That is July and August. Now during the winter time, which winter times up here could last anywhere from, I would say, 7 to 8 months. But during the dead middle of winter, temperatures can get as low as the -40s, with the wind chill being in the -80s with wind. And during the summer, temperatures do get into the triple digits occasionally. I mean, sometimes temperatures can get into the mid-100-degree range. I mean, it's not going to happen on a regular basis up here, but it does happen on occasions during this time of the year. So, and of course, given that this area is basically in the northern middle of the state. So, when it comes to the climate, it's not going to be quite as dry as further out west. The humidity is going to be a tad bit higher than further west, but it's going to be a little lower than further east. So if you want to move around here, my suggestion is don't just come here during this time of the year where the weather is going to be downright nice and beautiful, and you couldn't ask for a better summer in North Dakota. For the most part, as I told you on the last video I made of North Dakota. However, my suggestion is if you want to see how wintertime is going to be, or you at least want to get a sample of what wintertime is most likely going to be, I would say come up here around November or December, when most likely it's going to be downright cold and you will see some snow on these grounds. That's my best advice for those of you that want to come up here. Or if you come up here in September, my suggestion is don't buy anything, just rent yourself an apartment or a hotel. Or if you own an RV, just rent an RV lot. I would not advise you to move up here and immediately purchase a home until you get a taste of how wintertime up here is going to be. Because you'll come up here and then one day you're going to wake up in, I don't know, January. It's going to be negative 35 degrees. You're going to be freezing your ass off, and you're going to be cussing and swearing to whoever the hell is listening, and you're going to be wishing in the worst way that you never came up to this ice box in the first place. So I can't illustrate enough. If you're moving up to North Dakota, I would say anywhere in North Dakota, understand the winters are going to be long and cold, and they could be downright brutal. Especially if you're not used to winter. I mean, even if you're coming from other places that do get cold weather and does get snow, like if you're coming even from, let's say, Ohio, and you move up here. Now, granted, the humidity up here is not going to be quite as high as it is in Ohio. However, the temperatures up here will be a lot colder. So, even if you're coming from Ohio, for an instance, I wouldn't suggest you to immediately purchase yourself a home up here until you're up here during the winter. Now, if you decide maybe in January that okay, yeah, it gets cold as all get out, but you know what, I can deal with it, I'm good, and then you want to buy yourself a home up here, do what you do. But my suggestion is until you deal with at least maybe a month or two of winter time, like until you deal with the winter time up here during preferably January and February, I wouldn't suggest you buy anything. Now, of course, if you're coming up here and you're from an area where winters are cold and brutal, like if you're from maybe the Upper Peninsula of Michigan or Wisconsin, or you're somewhere from Minnesota or Montana, if you're from that general region of the upper Midwest and you move here, you'll be all right, because the weather up here is going to be very identical to those places. But like I said, if you're from anywhere south of that and you're coming up here to reside and start a new life, whatever the case might be, I would hold off on buying anything until you experience at least a couple of months of wintertime up here. So moving forward, now as far as it goes for housing prices here are relatively affordable. That is, if you can even find the houses for sale, because a lot of houses right now are either a lot of the houses right now that are listed on the MLS are going to either be under contract. They're going to be under contract, or some of them may have already been recently sold. So there's only a small amount of houses up here that are for sale. Now the median home price here is gonna be $148,600. Now right now the cheapest house is currently for sale is at 62 grand. And at 62 grand, anyone who's reasonable in this particular housing market can assume that for that price you're gonna have to put some money into that home. You're gonna have to do a little bit of repair and renovations most likely. Now if you're looking just to rents, your rent prices are gonna go from your median rent prices are gonna go from $830 to $1,310 a month. But I will say, for the most part, this is a nice small town, relatively low key and quiet. So if you don't mind living a little further away from larger metro areas, like obviously the only metro areas in the state of North Dakota is going to be Fargo and Sioux Falls. I mean, not Sioux Falls, but it's another city. Fargo and Bismarck, and there's one more city that's got about 60,000 people. I mean, it's not that big, but it's bigger than most other places in North Dakota. I want to say is, I forget what the name of the city is. It'll come back to me eventually. But anyways, the closest larger city, and when I say larger city, I'm talking North Dakota standards. The closest larger city here is, like I said, it's going to be over an hour from here. Or maybe if you're a fast driver, you can probably get to you can get to Minot. It's 61 miles from here. So provided that the traffic ain't crazy and the weather is right, you can probably get to Minot from here within an hour. I mean, and that's another thing. Up here in North Dakota, many of your, like if you're driving on interstate up here in North Dakota, many of your freeways are gonna have speed limits of 75 and 80 miles an hour. And I'll be honest, me growing up and being from the eastern part of the country, so to speak, where typically, for the most part, you're not going to see speed limits much above 70 miles an hour. Mostly it'll be 65, but in some states you'll see 70. You come up here to North Dakota, you'll see speed limits that will be 80 miles an hour. 80. So up here in North Dakota, it is going to be common to see speed limits that'll be 70, 75, and 80 miles an hour. Now, if you're traveling on Interstate 90 and also Interstate 29, which is on the east end of North Dakota, the speed limits on those two freeways are going to be 80 miles an hour. Now, on some of your less busier freeways, I forget what on some of your other freeways here in North Dakota, the speed limit's going to still be 65 to 70 miles an hour. But anyways, as far as it goes for the crime, both your violent crime and your property crime are well below national average. So good news there. And as far as it goes for the race demographics, it's 91.6% white, 1.3% black, 5.4% Native American, and 1.1% Hispanic. Now, this city was founded in 1886. The name came from the town of Rugby in Warwickshire, England. Rugby in Warwickshire, England. And the first settlers that arrived here were apparently they were farmers, and they came here in 1812. And this city does have an Amtrak station, which picks up passengers once a day. And the station was built by the Great Northern Railway in 1907, and of course over the last many years ever since then, that station has underwent many renovations just to keep everything, on point there. And the two major roads that go through this town are going to be US Route 2 and North Dakota Highway 3. And when it comes to entertainment, the only thing that there's really to do other than go out to a couple of bars is to go to the Prairie Village Museum. I mean, when it comes to entertainment, there's not really a whole lot to do out here. So if you want to get into some entertainment, the best you're going to be able to do is to drive that hour or so to Minot. Or I guess you can drive a few hours to Bismarck. And even then, there's a few things to do, but it's not going to be exactly the hub of entertainment. I mean, for the most part, North Dakota is not known for its entertainment. Spoiler alert, I guess. But if you're looking for a place to live that has jobs, that has a half-decent economy, and you don't mind extraordinary cold winters, long cold winters, and you don't mind living in a state that's got a sparse population, then a city like this could be calling your name. So that's all I gotta say about this city. So you guys have a great one. You all know what to do at this point. Subscribe, leave comments below, and of course, for those of you that have been doing all that, I appreciate the hell out of you. Have a blessed one.